I'm Adam Anshel for Pro Football Weekly with a look at the biggest underachievers in this year's draft, presented by Verizon Fios. I'm joined by our draft expert, Nolan Naraki. Nolan, these are guys that their production didn't necessarily meet their talent level. Let's start along the defensive line. You've got a couple of guys for us.
Yeah, Iowa defensive end Christian Ballard really stands out. He's a guy that has first-round talent, but you put on the tape, and he just doesn't show up enough. It leaves a lot of production on the field, and I think he's been very disappointing as a player overall. TERRELL McClain's another one from South Florida. The guy worked out phenomenally at his pro day, timed in the low 4.8s on a slow grass surface. But you throw on the tape again, and you see a guy that just stands around. He's not tough. He's got questions about his work ethic, and he easily gets distracted and loses focus. So you got three big concerns there. I think he definitely falls underneath that underachiever label.
It's so tough when you're trying to determine how these guys will project, when you see the talent there but just don't get the most out of it. Now moving on to linebackers, a couple of guys there that also fall into this underachiever category.
Yeah, Justin Houston from Georgia clearly has first-round physical traits. He's 6'3", 270 pounds, and he ran in the mid-4.6s. You know, he's got a lot of power. He can come off of the edge and create a pass rush, but the question is, why didn't he produce against Idaho State? You put on that tape, you expect him to ring up 5 sacks, and he just didn't show up. Played down to the competition level, and it's been a big concern for a lot of teams evaluating him. Illinois middle linebacker MARTEZ Wilson is another one. You know, he's 6'4", 250 pounds, and he ran in the mid-4.4s. But the problem is, where does he show up on tape? He grades out more like a backup than a starter. I still think he's going to go in the second round, but you know, he plays more like a 4th or 5th rounder.
PFW was at the Illinois Pro Day. The guy is just well-built, looks like a football player, but again, you see when it's not on tape, it's hard to judge. And one more guy on the offensive side of the ball, you have an offensive lineman from LSU.
Yeah, offensive tackle Joseph Barksdale was very disappointing on tape. You look at him, he's been a 3-year starter in the SEC, regularly matched up against solid competition. The problem is he just doesn't use his hands real well, and I think he's going to have a difficult time transitioning to the next level. He doesn't stay focused very well, and there are questions about his overall makeup as well.
See if these guys can turn it around and actually be better pros maybe than they were in college. That is a look at the top underachievers in this year's draft. For the best draft coverage, be sure to follow us on Twitter or go to ProFootballWeekly.com.